Hello everyone and welcome to another video of another stream, another live video. I'm trying to just take a look at my phone and see if everything is working perfectly. I'm not quite sure, to be honest. But hopefully everything is okay and everything is working. I'm checking it right now. So today, I've decided to talk about something quite important. I've decided to talk about something that so many students nowadays um, are actually interested to learn about, and especially second language learners. And I'm talking about uh, English language, to be specific. I don't know if you can see the I don't know if you can see the PowerPoint or not, but we'll just try to. I don't know if you can see the PowerPoint. Let me try and put that up again. I'm not sure if you can see it. All right, let me put that up again. Yeah, there you go. I know you can see it now. So you can see the PowerPoint. Uh, so this is something different. This is something new, and this is what I've decided to do from now on. I've decided to start making these PowerPoints where I explain things to you guys. And I also will put these PowerPoints in the description below. So if any of you want to download these PowerPoints, you can do that and keep them with you so that you can use them as you please later on. I don't know if my voice is okay. I don't know if it's working fine or not, but I hope more people will come to the chat so that we can see if my voice is working properly or not. I'll just get along with it. I'll just go with it, and I'll finish the lesson and the live video. Even if no one is here, I don't really mind. You can always check it later on. You can always come back later on and check the video and see what I've spoken about, and if you've learned something, or you can also ask me questions in the comments now when you come, or later on when you see the video uploaded on YouTube, not live. So today's topic is going to be about language acquisition. Okay, language acquisition. I've spoken about that before, but I've spoken about it from a psychological perspective. But today, I try to talk about it differently. Hello, Infra. Hello, the Dreamer. I hope you guys are doing well. I don't know if you can hear me very well. Just let me know if you can hear me. That would be amazing. I don't know if my voice is okay. I'm not quite sure. So just let me know if you can hear me or not. Is my voice okay? Yeah, everything is great. Okay, perfect. Thanks a lot, mate. Thank you, Infra. Thank you so much, bro. You've been actually Infra is one of my favorites because it's been here for the third time. This is my third live video, and Infra has been here in the whole, to understand, period of time, in the first video, in the second one, and the third one. So thank you so much, bro. Thanks a lot, mate. Thank you so much. So talking about language acquisition, yeah, amazing. Thanks a lot, mate. Thank you, Infra. Thank you so much. I'm a big fan of yours as well. And the proper way to say it is I'm a big fan of yours, right? This is how amazing English language is. So you can say I'm a big fan of you, do you understand? But the better way is to say I'm a big fan of yours. In the sense, it's amazing. English language is amazing. And that's why this lesson is very important, because I'll teach you today how to think in English. Do you understand? Not just how to speak in English, but how to think in English. The lesson objectives today is to be able to think in English properly, right? So if you can achieve that level, of speaking in English, you would rather think in English as well. Do you understand? You can't just master the language and fail in thinking in English. It's very, very important to think in English before you speak. So I'll talk about that today. So speak and think in English. That's today's topic. I don't want to say a lesson. I don't want this to seem, understand, as if it's a lesson or no, this is just a topic. We talk about it all together. We can discuss it, understand. We can just, we are open-minded here. We discuss it. We learn from one another. Yeah, it's a very important topic, Infra. It is indeed, because so many second language learners tend to think in Arabic or in French or in Spanish or in Chinese, in the native language, in the mother tongue language, yeah, before they speak in English. So they translate the words inside the head before they speak in English, which is a very big problem, right? That creates miscommunication, all right, between them and the hearer or the one they're speaking to. So today's content is going to be the talk, or what I'm going to do is going to be divided into 4 categories. So English as a second language. I'll talk about English as a second language because it's a completely different topic as well. I'll talk about understanding and speaking English, understanding and speaking English at the same time. I'll talk about translation, quite important, and I'll talk about thinking in English, which is the result of everything else. So I'll teach you today how to think in English. Today, after this video, you will leave an English thinker, not an English speaker. All right, someone who speaks English and thinks in English at the same time. So it's quite important. The first thing that I'll talk about, as I said, is English as a second language. Oh, Andy, one more time. Oh my God, Andy, one more time. There, I'm happy. I got so earlier today. Thanks a lot, Andy, for being here. You're amazing. Andy also has been here for the 3rd time. So this is my 3rd video, and Andy has been here all the time, which is amazing. And thanks a lot. I really thank you for being here every single time. That's amazing. I hope you can hear me very well. And as I said, today's topic is about thinking in English, not just speaking in English. So you will leave today as an English thinker, not just as an English speaker. So it doesn't matter what language you speak, yeah? It doesn't matter what is your first language or mother tongue language, be it Arabic, Spanish, be it Chinese, as I said, Japanese, French, right? Today, you will leave as an English thinker, all right? And it's quite important, and I'll teach you those basics as well. Awesome. So, and this topic is something that not so many teachers speak about, not so many language teachers speak about, because it is very sensitive. It is a very sensitive topic because it touches culture, right? It touches culture. No one wants to mess with culture. Do you understand? You don't want to do that. You would rather have a miscommunication, but not a clash, you understand, of cultures. A clash of culture would create a war between 2 countries. You understand? But a miscommunication might just, you understand, you might just, okay, I didn't get you, didn't understand you, I'll just look for a translator, or I'll go to someone else. Do you understand? But a clash of culture, you will fight the other person. You will hate the other person. You will not like the other person. They create a big problem. So that's why language teachers do not really speak about thinking in a language rather than speaking the language. But today I'll do that, and I'll do it in a very simplistic way, if I may, and I hope you'll understand it. Even in the same country, yeah, exactly. Even in the same country, sometimes that creates a miscommunication or clash of cultures, if I may say. So English as a second language is the first thing that we'll talk about. I wrote here, and second language learners might experience a lot of difficulties at the beginning of their journey. As a second language learner, regardless of what your mother tongue language is, you will find difficulties learning the language, right? You will find difficulties, a lot of difficulties. Everyone finds those difficulties, right? And we understand that as teachers. Now, I will highlight those difficulties, and I will just break them down for you, and I'll teach you how to overcome them, yeah? Even if you've already done that, I'll teach you how to do it properly so that you can think in English, right? So the first thing is, why are you learning the language? Finding the purpose. That's the first thing that you need to do as a second language learner. Why are you learning the language? Why do you want to learn English? Okay, speaking about English now. Why do you want to learn English? What is your purpose? Do you understand? What is your purpose of learning the language? Very important question that you need to ask yourself, because depending on the purpose, right, you can then guide your way of thinking. Okay, if you want to learn English language as a student, okay, that's different than learning English language as a speaker, a communicator, or as a tourist, someone who wants to travel the world and see other countries. It's different. It's different. Some people, they like to learn the language to talk on the internet, just to be popular on the internet, to have very good population on social media, whatever. Do you understand? They just want to connect with people and talk to people regardless, informally. Do you understand? They don't want to learn formal language. Do you get what I mean? So now they directed themselves to informal language, and that's the culture that they want to learn. Do you understand? So you need to ask yourself, why do you want to learn the language? Do you want to write books? Do you want to write poems? Do you want to become a writer? Do you want to go to university? Do you want to travel the world? Do you want to become a doctor? You understand? Because the terms that you will learn as a doctor, they're different than the terms that you learn as a teacher, as a mechanic, as, you understand, as a tourist, as, right? So it is quite important to know why you want to learn the language, right? This is a very important question that you need to ask yourself before you start learning the language. Now, the second thing that I'll talk about today as well is regarding English as a second language, how to start learning the language. How do I start? What is the plan? I'll teach you the perfect plan to start learning the language and to get out of it with an English way of thinking. Do you understand? Quite important. Quite important. You might be thinking, I know English, I speak in English, but you're thinking, oh my God, but I cannot really think in English. Do you understand? I still translate words in my head, in my mind. I still do it. In a fraction of a second, you do it in maybe less than a second, but you still do it. You understand? You still translate words in your head, which is wrong. Which is wrong in so many levels. You understand? You might get away with it sometimes, but you're not fluent, you're not coherent. Do you understand? If you do that, you need to be an English thinker to be an English speaker, right? To do that, I'll teach you the proper plan. The third thing is mixing your native language. All right, first language, which is the first language that you have, or your native language, with English. So you mix it with English in your head. Your head becomes like Google Translate. You see, when you want to translate a sentence in Google and you try to put the sentence there in your mother tongue language and you translate it to English, but then it doesn't make sense. Do you understand? You try to copy and paste it to the one you want to send it to, but it doesn't make sense to them. They're very confused. Do you understand? Infra says sometimes you can't find the word you want when you translate it. True. Sometimes, I totally get you. That works in two ways, by the way. Sometimes you want to translate word in your head. You understand? You're like, oh my God, I want to tell this guy that I'm going to the supermarket. Do you understand? You're thinking about that in your mother tongue language, like thinking about that, let's say in French or Arabic. You're like, oh my God, what should I tell this? Supermarket. What is supermarket? What is supermarket in English? Do you get what I mean? You're saying it in your mother tongue language. You're like, what is supermarket in English? What is supermarket in English? Do you get what I mean? And then you stop at that word and you don't say it. So this here is wrong. Even if you master the language, even if you've got an understanding of what language is, but you still miss the point of speaking that language to begin with. Today, I'll teach you the secrets. And what I'll teach you today is something very sensitive. All right? So use it, okay, smartly and wisely as well. So we'll start with the first thing, which is, why are you learning the language? Why English? Why are you learning the language? Please, guys, this is a very important question. Okay? Ask it to anyone who wants to learn English. Ask it to yourselves and to those people that you meet every single day and they want to learn the language as well. So the purpose is I wrote here, finding the purpose to why you want to learn the language will help you create the perfect plan. The plan that I'll give you today, all right? It will also give you enough ambition and help you determine the culture you should embrace as a learner, all right? As a learner, there is always a path or a way that you want to take to learn the language, okay? I'll teach you today to take that path with confidence and to take that path with a plan, with a proper plan, not just random, you understand, random way of learning English. Do you get what I mean? That's not how it works. So many people, they've learned English, they are very good English speakers. Do you understand? They speak English very well. They're amazing. Do you get what I mean? However, it took them a long period of time to do so. Why? They wasted their times doing the wrong things, following the wrong plan. You understand? Which is why watching a video like this will help you out a lot, or will help those you know. You understand? So I'm sorry I haven't done this before, but for those who are here, at least you will have an understanding, or you will help others as well. Do you understand? It's very important. And this will help you in any language, not just English, by the way. So remember this. This will help you in any language, right? That's why I said, why are you learning the language? I didn't say, why are you learning English? But I tried to give English here as an example, to put English as an example, which is much better. Do you get what I mean? But if you want to learn any other language, right, you have to follow this plan as well to achieve a better way in thinking, to understand that language, not just speaking that language. So moving on to number 2, which is the plan. I'll give you the plan. So the plan starts with number 1, listening, right? It starts with number 1, listening. Train your ears. This is what I always say. I always say, train your ears. It is the key to learn. Totally. Andy says it is the key to learn. I reckon Andy is referring to the purpose of knowing your the purpose of knowing why you want to study or why you want to learn that language. So listening is when you train your ears. I always say this to my students, and I always say this to people who come to me for advice, okay? Because so many people come to me for advice. They want to learn the language. They want to study English specifically. And they say, I want to learn English very quickly. I have a job interview. Do you get what I mean? I have to prepare myself. I've got just 1 year to prepare myself, whatever. To get, I mean, I've got IGCSE exams, I've got GCSE exams, I've got A levels, and I'm lost. And I only got C grade or B in IGCSE, and I'm going to do A level. So you better help me out. I don't know how to prepare myself. I don't know how to think in English. Do you get what I mean? I've got a listening exam. I've got a speaking exam. I've got IELTS. I've got, do you get what I mean? So many students have got these different exams, and they try to familiarize themselves with the language. So they come to me for advice. And what I say is, start with listening. Why do you want to start with listening? Train your ears. I always say this. If you can listen properly, yeah, you can speak properly. Okay? Remember that. This is very important. I always say this, and I'll say it again. If you can listen properly, okay, you can speak properly. That's how it goes. There is no other way to do things. Okay, start by listening, because you've got 2 ears and 1 mouth and 1 tongue. Do you get what I mean? Start by listening. That's what babies do when they grow older. We've spoken about this before. Babies, they don't speak, they listen. Do you get what I mean? And then they start speaking later on. That's the process that you want to take. Okay? However, this process will help you also think in English. All right? So train your ears, listen to native speakers, and don't focus too much on difficult words. Of course, when you listen to native speakers, you will hear a lot of difficult words, yeah? But don't confuse yourself with those difficult words. Don't go and say, oh my God, I cannot understand this words that I've just heard. What should I do? Blah, blah, blah. Do you get what I mean? No, that's fine, mate. Don't worry about that. That difficult word, as I said before, is already in your subconscious mind. You will learn that word whether you like it or not, because it's in your mind, it's in your head. Do you get what I mean? So don't worry about that. Just move on. Keep listening and move on. You get me? Keep listening and move on. If you don't understand 1 word, you'll understand 5. If you don't understand 5, you'll understand 2. If you don't understand 100 words, you'll understand 10. No problem. The other words, the other 90 words are already in your head, are already in your mind. You will get to remember them later on, through reading or through speaking. You get what I mean? So don't worry about that, right? So put that aside. Now, listening is very good to your ears because it trains your ears. If you listen to something once, okay, and this happens to students who go through listening exams, okay, because in listening exam, for example, in IGCSE listening exams, or GCSE listening exams, or IELTS listening exams, you've got to listen twice, right, to the recording. It says you will listen to this recording twice, right? And then you listen to the recording twice, you answer the questions, you listen to it once, okay, you answer the questions, and then the recording repeats itself. Do you get what I mean? And you have a chance then to listen to it one more time, because there are some students that cannot understand from the first listening, all right? They only understand from the second listening. Other students, they only understand from the third listening. And then the students who understand from the fourth listening, the fifth listening, the sixth listening. Do you understand? Until this, sometimes we've got 5 questions. You listen once, you cannot answer the fifth question. You only answer 4 questions. You need the second listening to answer the 5th one. Do you get what I mean? So that's how it works, which is why listening is amazing. But once you train your ears again and again and again, you listen to a lot of English, yeah, especially native speakers. And I say this again, do not listen to music, you guys, yeah? Don't listen to music. Music will teach you informal language. And you cannot sit in an interview. That's what I told you before. Why do you want to learn the language? I want to learn the language to communicate with people only. I want to learn the language because I want to use it in an informal way. No problem. Do you get what I mean? That's not a problem then. But if you listen to music, you will only learn informal English. You will never sit in an interview and just have a formal conversation with your future boss. Never. That will never happen. Do you get what I mean? So be careful. Be careful and think about this. That's why the purpose plays a very important role. Why do you want to learn the language? The purpose is the answer, do you understand, to the questions of the plan you will take. Do you get what I mean? The purpose is everything. The purpose is the key to learn, as Andy says, right? The purpose is the key. Once you open the door, using the key, you have the path, which is the plan that I've got in front of you. Do you get what I mean? So be careful and remember that. Now, as I said, listening, train your ears, do that. And my advice to second language learners or first language learners or any language learners, try to download a radio on your phone. All right, this is an advice that I give you. That I give those people who are here with me, Andy, Infra, and the Dreamer. I'll give you this now, and I can also, and this is all. This goes also to other, to the people who are here as well, who are going to watch this later on. All right. So what I wanted to say is, sometimes I forgot what I wanted to say. So what I wanted to say is that, yeah, use a radio. Okay, use a radio to listen to English speaking native speakers, English native speakers. So put the radio on your phone and start it on your phone, to understand, and start it and listen to native speakers. Do not listen to music, as I said before. Just listen to the BBC News, listen to the London radio. It's an amazing radio as well. It's called London Radio, and it speaks about the plays and books and novels and everything that happens in the world. You understand? Listen to the news. Do you get what I mean? Because it's formal. And it's not dedicated to everyone. It's just dedicated to academic and intellectuals and people who can understand what's going on in the world. But just listen. Don't watch the BBC on television. No, listen to it. Train your ears only. Do you get what I mean? Before you sleep, just start it. There is a radio on, whether you have an iOS phone or an Android phone, you can just download that. Do you get what I mean? And start listening when you're free, right? Just leave it in the background and you're doing something else, but you're listening. Do you get what I mean? You're listening to what they're talking about, because your ears are being trained to listen to that language, to English. Do you get what I mean? When you listen to English a lot, that's good. Reading number 2, train your eyes. Okay, train your eyes to see English language. There are some tests where you take vowels from a sentence and you can still read the sentence. Do you understand? There are some tests where the sentence is mixed, but you can still read the sentence. Do you understand? I should have put those tests here to prove you that reading is important, because you're going to train your eyes, right? But unfortunately, I didn't do that, but I remember that now. This is why lives, do you understand, is a little bit crazy, because you're not prepared. But again, Train your eyes and read short stories. And I wrote here, let your brain get used to reading English. Start by short stories less than 20 pages. Okay, less than 20 pages. Short stories less than 20 pages. They exist on the internet, PDFs. Download them and try to read from them as well. They are very amazing. Okay, that are very good, and you can learn from those. So that's number one. Number two, when you read those short stories, you will not find a lot of difficult words. Okay, because it's just 20 pages. If you find difficult words and you don't want to translate them and you don't want to know their definitions, no problem. Do you get what I mean? No problem. Ignore those difficult words, right? Because you will understand the context of the story. There is something called context clues. Okay, I don't know if I've spoken about it before or not, but it's something called context clues, which means you'll understand what's going on in the sentence. Yes, I've spoken about it before when I gave the example of I'm splunchy, I want to eat, which means I'm hungry. And splunchy is just a word that I created the other day. It doesn't really exist. So yes, I've given you this example before. So that's what I mean by context clues. When you read a short story of 20 pages, you're not just going to understand every single word, obviously. To understand, your second language learner, you'll find it difficult to understand somewhat. Even first language learners, when they read novels, they will not understand every single word. First language learners, when they read a poem in English, they will not understand every single word. There are some words that you cannot understand, just like in your native language. To understand, you cannot understand. If you're an Arabic, if you speak Arabic or you're an Arab, you cannot understand some words to understand. It is clear in poetry, in Arabic poetry, it's very hard and complicated. There are some words that you cannot understand. You can never comprehend. You need to use a dictionary, even you're an Arab. Do you get what I mean? So French, the same thing. Spanish, Portuguese, whatever. Do you get what I mean? Infra says, sometimes when I read a book, I try to translate the word. Is it okay to do that? Well, yes, it is okay to do that because that will make you feel comfortable. Do you understand? And once you're comfortable with the language, you can learn the language. Do you understand? Because you're comfortable, right? I'm not going to tell you, no, 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 don't translate, don't use translation. Oh my God, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to say that, right? That's old school. No. It's fine to translate one word or two words, no problem. It's better to look for the definition in English. Do you understand what I mean? The word is in English, look for the definition in English. If you cannot understand it, translate it. Do you get what I mean? Translation is plan B. It's not plan A, infra. So translate it later on. When you don't understand it, translate it. And by the way, plan C, if you don't want to translate, if you're too lazy to know the definition, if you're too lazy to translate it as well, keep it the way it is and move on. Read through the context. You will understand the story. Trust me. You will understand the story. And you will say, oh, but I haven't learned the word. You have learned the word. Trust me. Because you've understood the story. Next time you will hear the word, right? You will hear the word used in a different context or in the same context. You'll understand what it means. Trust me. Do you get what I mean? This is how babies learn English. And this is how you, not English, any other language. And this is how you learn the language as well, right? When you translate it, that is, you kind of teaching yourself to translate every single word. Plan B is not always perfect. You understand? Plan A is the perfect plan. Plan B is not always perfect, but it is doable. It happens because it makes you feel comfortable. And once you're comfortable, you can do anything. You understand? You can learn it. You can learn the language. Number three, speaking. Train your tongue. Your tongue is messed up. It's all over the place when you're a second language learner. You cannot speak English properly. Like, blah, blah, blah. Do you get what I mean? You just, words won't come out. Do you get what I mean? If your mouth, you just randomly speak randomly. Do you understand? Infra says, yes, that's what I was looking for. Thank you. No worries, mate. Don't worry about it. Ask me any questions you want regarding language. I'm here to answer you. Any questions, literally any question. So train your tongue. As I said, sometimes you cannot really make sense. You read a sentence and you're like, oh, your tongue gets twisted. Do you get what I mean? Your tongue gets twisted. You don't know what you're saying, right? So when that happens, just speak more. Train your tongue. Do you get what I mean? And it says here, use the words you've learned through listening and reading. When you listen, you've heard some words, yeah? And then when you read, you might have read the words that you've listened to, right? And then when you speak, you have to use the words that you've read and that you've already listened to. Do you get what I mean? Here, you are thinking in English. Okay, here you are thinking in English subconsciously without. So There you go. Yeah, the live stopped. I think the internet. I think it was the internet, infra. I think it was the internet. Sorry about that. Can you hear me now? Is it working now? Hope it is. Yeah, I think it's working now. Is it? Someone say anything? Yeah, perfect. Okay, perfect. Sometimes it would be hard, so hard to pronounce the word properly. Andy says sometimes it is very hard to pronounce the word properly. When you're reading, you cannot pronounce some words. Very good question, Andy. That's amazing, Andy. That's amazing, right? Yes, true. Sometimes when you're reading, there is this word that you cannot pronounce properly. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to remember some words. I don't know, man. Maybe there's a word here that I've written myself. Challenge, you say challenge or challenge or whatever. Do you get what I mean? It's like you pronounce it differently. It is okay, no problem. Why? Why is it okay? Because you're listening. You're listening at the same time. Because you have listened before. So you listened to the word before. Do you get what I mean? Which means you've listened to the word's pronunciation. Do you get what I mean? So you will pronounce the word, or you will at least try to pronounce the word as you've listened to. Do you get what I mean? That's why I told you listen to native speakers. You don't want to listen to someone who does not know what he's talking about, or someone who does not know how to pronounce the words properly or the letters properly. Do you get what I mean? You don't want to do that. So you want to listen to someone who's actually speaking phonetically correct. Do you get what I mean? So for those who do not know what phonetics is about or linguistics is about, this is something that we can talk about later on if you want to, no problem. But listen to those people that make sense. Do you understand? That they speak English properly. And that's it. If you listen to English, that's why I told you, listen properly, speak properly. If you don't listen properly, you can never speak properly. You'll just mess things up. Do you get what I mean? So mixing your native language, I hope that answers your question, Andy, or that fills in something in your comment as well. Mixing your native language, which means when you speak in English or any other language, you mix it with your native language. Do you get what I mean? It's like you mix it, a word in English or a word in your native language, a word in English, word in your native language. We do that to understand in different languages. People who speak multiple languages might do that. You understand? If you speak French and English, you find yourself putting French words next to English words as well. You will never think in English if you do that. You will keep thinking in French forever. Do you get what I mean? If you put French words next to Arabic words, you will never speak French. Do you understand properly? You will always think in Arabic if you're an Arabic. Do you understand? If Arabic is your native language and so on. So the first thing that you need to do is use English. Okay, this is the advice that I give you. Use English. How do I use English? What are you talking about? Put a challenge for yourself and use English when you talk to people on the internet. That's number one. Challenge number one, talk to people on the internet using English. Do you get what I mean? Even your friends, people that you don't know, strangers, when they speak to you, when you've got to post something, use English. Let me read what Infra says. Infra says, English accent in my mind is like David Beckham or someone from Great Britain. But when I talk, oh my God. I got what you mean. I got what you mean. And also, this reminds me of something, Infra, is that when you read silently, when you silent reading, yeah, with your eyes or just like this, with your lips, bro, you are a perfect speaking, a perfect English reader. Do you get what I mean? You're a perfect reader, right? And it's like you're speaking in your head. You're like, oh my God, I'm perfect at this. But once you start speaking up, you mess it up. Do you get what I mean? Which is why I always recommend reading silently. But then when you perfect that, when you read silently and it's perfect, what I want you to do is speak up and scream. Okay, and scream it out. Do you get what I mean? Scream the paragraph that you're reading. Scream the paragraph that you're reading, because it will get difficult. When you scream, it will get difficult for you to pronounce the words properly. But if you do it once, twice, thrice, that's it, mate. Do you get what I mean? As I told you before in listening, if you listen once, twice, thrice, you train your ears. If you speak it, or if you say it, or if you repeat it once, twice, thrice, that's it. You trained your tongue as well. So it works perfectly. Do you get what I mean? Try to speak up. and raise your voice when you read those paragraphs, right? After you read it silently, raise your voice and read it. And try to read speeding up. Do you understand? Mixing your native language, mixing your native language, mixing your native language. Do you get what I mean? Use English. Put a challenge for yourself and use English when you talk to people on the internet. Do you get what I mean? Make new friends. Try to make. Do you get what I mean? Just try to read it properly, to read it very fast, right? When you do that, you're training your tongue, by the way, because you're twisting your tongue. You're twisting your tongue. Do you get what I mean? When you twist your tongue, that's it. Your tongue gets used to English. I used to do this with my students as well. Do you understand? The lower grade, I used to do this with them. We've got these texts, and we try to. I try to pick students, and I tell them it's a competition. Try to, for the teachers out there, if we have got teachers here and they need ways to teach, to understand, this is a very good technique that I do as well. I ask 2 students, 3 students to compete, to understand, at the end of the lesson, I've got the test, I've got the text on the board, yeah, on the PowerPoint or on their notebooks or their books, and I tell them, I'll tell one of them to start reading, and I time them up. Do you understand? I time them and I tell them start. And he starts reading, yeah, very fast, yeah, without mistakes. Do you understand? And then I time him, and it's just 30 seconds. All right, the other one starts, and he's like, do you get what I mean? It goes very, very fast. To go without mistakes. If you make a mistake, you repeat again. You make a mistake, repeat again. Do you get what I mean? If you make a mistake in the middle of the text, you repeat again. Make that challenge between you and yourself. Do you get what I mean? Or if you've got a friend, a brother, I don't know, whoever it is that is you, that is with you. You understand? You can do that to people as well. So it's amazing, and it's great technique that you can use to twist your tongue and speak English properly. So number 1, use English with people that you talk to on the internet. It's a must. You're talking to me now through the internet, you're talking to me in English. Use English when you talk to people on the internet. This is the rule. Do you get what I mean? If you've got, I don't know, a Facebook account, your name needs to be in English, your status, everything that you post is in English. Everything that you post in English. People that you talk to, speak to them in English. Do you get what I mean? When you reply in English. When you put comments, put them in English. Everything needs to be in English. YouTube comments in English. Do you get what I mean? Make your internet communication in English. This is what number 1 is about, right? When you do that, you will end up thinking in English. Trust me. Trust me. That's the rule. Whenever someone talks to you, talk to them in English. Even if they are talking to you in your native language. French, if they're talking to you in French, talk to them in English. Reply in English. Do you get what I mean? If they don't understand, I'll tell you this though, if they don't understand, they can translate it. They can go to Google and translate it. That's it. If they say, I'm sorry, I cannot understand you, mate. Speak to me in Arabic or in French, whatever. What are you doing, mate? Just say, go translate it. That's it. As simple as that. Go translate it. As simple as that. Do you get what I mean? If they are your friends, they should support you because they know you're trying to learn. Do you get what I mean? They know you're trying to learn. So please remember this. This is very important. Okay? Speak in English in social media, in all the platforms. Type in English. What I was saying, yeah? Type in English. If you speak to people, if you type to people, type in English. I'm not saying use your voice. Do you get what I mean? It might not be comfortable, but maybe number 2, number 3, number 4 will get you there. Number 2, make friends. Make new friends. New friends that speak English. You understand? New friends that speak English. Try to make new native English friends or American friends, or do you understand what I mean? Try to make new native friends. Only then you can speak in English. It's a must. You cannot speak in your native tongue language because they will never understand you. And you will also have a good relationship with them because they'll talk to you just in English. Do you get what I mean? And you have to understand as well. And you will also pick up the culture when they talk to you in English because they are, do you understand, native speakers. So that's amazing. So number 3 as well is don't be shy, right? Use the language with outsiders. When you finish, number 1, using English language on the internet. Outside the internet, speak in your native language, no problem, right? Number 2, you made new friends that are native speakers, or on the outside or on the internet. Number 3, don't be shy. Use the language outside, right? With outsiders. Use the language with your family members, with your brothers, with your sisters, with your mum, with your dad. Do you get what I mean? With your friends, with your best friends outside, when you're playing football, when you're playing whatever. Do you get what I mean? Speak to them in English. Your friends will not laugh at you, trust me. Listen to me. Your friends will not laugh at you. Your friends will not make fun of you. Because they are what? Your friends, yeah? Your best friends will support you. If you say, I made a deal and I'm not going to speak Arabic for one day. I'm not going to speak French for one day. I'm not going to speak Spanish for one day. I'm not going to speak Chinese for one day. Now what happens? Your friends will say, yes, do that, mate. That's amazing. If you speak a word in Arabic, you need to give me $10. You get what I mean? You need to give me £5. You just say, when they say that, that's it, mate. It means they support you. They're with you. You get what I mean? These are the people that you should have around you. Not those people who would laugh at you and say, oh my God, what are you trying to do, mate? What are you talking about? Learning English? Oh my God, really? You're a dropout. You didn't even go to school, blah, blah, blah. Do you get what I mean? They try to pull you down. They try to mess with you and mess with your personality and with your psycho. Do you get what I mean? Don't listen to those people, right? Because you never learn. Those people do not want you to learn. Those people are not real friends. Real friends will support you. Remember this. So don't be shy around people, around friends as well. The fourth rule as well is that you need to make mistakes. You have to. You have to make mistakes because so many people say, oh my God, I am too shy. Okay, if Infra says, well, we will look weird. No, you won't look weird. This is what you're thinking. This is what I'm telling you, don't be shy. The title says, don't be shy. You will think you will look weird. You are with your friends, mate. You've done the weirdest things with your friends. Come on. Come on, Infra. You've got best friends. You've got friends. You've done the weirdest things with your friends. The weirdest, mate. And they've accepted it. They've accepted the weirdest you. You know what I mean? So they will accept you speaking in English as well. It's okay, no problem. You know what I mean? That's it. You've done everything with them. Speak to them in English. Speak with them in English. They will accept it. It might sound weird at first, yeah? But then they will get used to it. What's the definition of weird? Weird is something new that people cannot accept. That's weird. Do you get what I mean? This is very weird because we've never seen it before. Do you get what I mean? But once they see it once, twice, thrice, that's it. It's not weird anymore. Do you get what I mean? They get used to it. Do you get what I mean? That's it. That's the definition of weird. What is weird? Right? What is weird? That's it. If you wear your pants on your head, it's weird, isn't it? But then if you wear it once, twice, thrice, people get used to it. That's it. It might become a fashion and people start doing it as well. It will not be weird anymore. Do you get what I mean? So that's it. Some haircuts were weird before. But no, they're not weird. They're fashion. Do you get what I mean? So think about that, mate. Yeah? Once you start doing that, that's it. People will listen to you. People will just follow along and maybe they will speak like you and try to follow your leads and maybe you'll be an idol and they will try to learn just like you. Do you get what I mean? So put that in your head, mate. It's very important. And also make mistakes. We'll learn from our mistakes. You need to be able to make mistakes, right? Make mistakes, please. You have to make mistakes when you learn the language. You understand? You have to make mistakes. You cannot just start learning the language, do you get what I mean, and expect not to make mistakes. You have to. And my advice is go and make mistakes. Go ahead and make mistakes. Do not worry about other people correcting you as well. Be open-minded and accept other people's corrections. If they say, you shouldn't make this mistake, this is what you should say, blah, blah, blah. Say, okay, thank you so much for correcting me. Thanks a lot, mate. This is what I should say, whatever. Do you get what I mean? I'm still learning. Everyone is learning. Do you get what I mean? Every single one is learning. Every single human on this planet is learning. Yeah, every single one. Name one who's not learning. Just name one. Everyone is learning. Do you understand? Prophets that God sent, do you understand? They were learning every single day. Even though they were prophets, they were learning. You get what I mean? Everyone learns. So just put that in mind. Everyone learns. Everyone make mistakes. That's it. If you make mistakes, you are learning from those mistakes. You will never achieve anything without mistakes. Andy says, and especially when they make fun of you, that will keep it in your mind forever. True. When you say something and like, oh my God, really? This is what you're doing? It's like you will never forget that word. That is true. But they shouldn't make fun of you, Andy. Andy, they shouldn't make fun of you. I don't think so. I don't think they should make fun of you. Okay? And you should say that if they're making fun of you, just say, you are my friends, you should support me. This is what I want to do. Do you get what I mean? I want this. This is it. I've got a purpose. Right? I want to learn English because of this, because of that. I want to learn Chinese because of this, because of that. I told you can use this with any language. Right? So be honest and surround yourself with people that are creative, positive, and supportive. That's it. Do not surround yourself with people that would pull you down, people that are selfish, people that just think of themselves, people that just want to have fun. That's it. You understand? They don't want to learn anything in life. What about life? Do you get what I mean? Don't surround yourself with those people. Trust me, those people will just give up on you one day. Trust me. Believe you me, that will happen. In a sense. So that's the proper way to learn English. Make mistakes and it's fine. You're not weird. You're not crazy. You're not stupid. You're not trying to do something out of the ordinary. No, this is something normal. You're just speaking in English and it's okay. No problem. You're learning just like everyone else. Do you get what I mean? That's it. Right? Don't even mention it. If you go buy something from a shop, speak to the guy in English, to the salesperson, speak to him in English, mate. Yeah? It's okay. If he doesn't understand, no problem. Speak to him in Arabic, sir, or French, or Chinese, or Japanese, or whatever your native language is, and say, okay, there you go. And he will not be mad or sad or angry. Do you get what I mean? It's just a little bit of courage. If you do it once, you do it twice. If you do it twice, you do it thrice. And that's it. And it will not become weird anymore. It will not be weird anymore. Oh my God, the English cycle. This is very important. All right? The English cycle is very important. Now, this is me trying to summarize what I said before. If you want to achieve the level of awareness where you're thinking in English and speaking in English at the same time, you have to follow this English cycle. Okay? I'll explain it to you. So as I said before, if your native language is French, you cannot think in French and speak in English. That will create miscommunication and clash of culture as well, because you're thinking in French, speaking in English doesn't work. Trust me. You cannot think in Malayo and speak in English doesn't work, or speak in French doesn't work. You have to think in a language and speak that language as well. That's how it works. So you have to follow this English cycle if you want to speak English and think in English at the same time. All right? So the first thing is listening. All right? You need to listen. The more you listen to native speakers, the more you start thinking like one. This is a rule. The more you listen to native speakers, the more you start thinking like a native speaker as well. Okay? How they put sentences next to each other. How they use linkers and connectives, like however, furthermore, although, but, so, as, yet. Do you get what I mean? For, or. How they use these connectives, how they link the sentences, how they link the words, how they link the paragraphs. Do you get what I mean? Although, even though. Do you get what I mean? Once you get to hear native speakers a lot, you get to become one. You get to connect sentences like they do without you knowing it. Do you get what I mean? Because you've heard it a lot. You've already trained your ears. Do you get me? It's very important. This is very important. And once you start thinking like one and connecting sentences like one, sometimes you didn't even study English language at university. You hear a sentence and you go, this sentence is wrong. Do you get what I mean? You read a sentence and you will know immediately that that sentence is wrong. How? Even though you don't know anything about grammar, you don't know. Do you get what I mean? If you hear a sentence, you go, oh my God, this sentence is wrong. Right? Because it sounds wrong. You see, you say it sounds wrong, or it sounds heavy. It's a little bit heavy on the tongue. That's what you say sometimes. You try to make it, for your brain to accept it, you try to say it. When you say it, it's a little bit heavy. So you go, it's heavy on the tongue. That sentence is wrong. Do you get what I mean? You hear it first, but then you don't confirm until you speak it, until you say it. Right? This happens to all of us. Right? This happens to all of you. You go, oh my God, that sentence doesn't sound right. So you have to know that that's good. That's a good way to train your ears. It means you have reached the level where you can train your ears. That's the proof that you're training your ears. Do you get what I mean? So start thinking like a native speaker, because you start speaking like one as well. Reading. Number 2, the cycle continues. Reading. Reading about the same topics you listen to. All right? When you listen to certain topic, try to read about the same topic, because you will find the same vocabularies. Okay? You will find the same words, the same idioms, the same expressions, the same sentences approximately, the same linkers, the same connectors. You understand? You will find the same context. That will help you a lot, because it will help you understand, which will help you keep the information inside. Do you get what I mean? Because you're not changing topics. You just listen to a topic I listened to telepathy, and I've read about telepathy. Do you get what I mean? And then I'll speak about telepathy. That's what speaking is about as well. All right. Speaking about the same topics you listen to, right, and read about will help you engrave those information. You will engrave those information and keep your thoughts separated from your native language, right? Once you reach that level, your thoughts will be separated from your native language. Your native language, you'll forget all about it because you've already listened to one topic and read about it and spoken about it as well. You will speak about what you read and what you listened to. And what you read and listened to were from native speakers. So what you're doing, you're speaking about what a native speaker wrote and a native speaker said. So you're speaking from a native speaker's perspective. So you're speaking from a native speaker's way of thinking. So you are thinking in English. Okay, remember that. This is the perfect way to do it. This is why the English cycle is very important. Okay, then writing. Write about the same topic. Do not change topics. Write about the same topic. Andy says it's good to get some Kindle's book from and get the PDF book. Listen, same book. Well, yes, there are audiobooks. There are audiobooks. True, there are audiobooks. You can listen and read them at the same time. Is that what you mean? I think that's what you mean. You can listen to some books and read them at the same time. Audiobooks. I've seen those on the internet as well on YouTube. You type audiobook, you can see the book, you can listen to the book, and you can read the book at the same time. That's amazing. If you're busy, if you're cooking, if you're washing the dishes, if you're doing whatever it is, yeah, you can listen to those books. You can listen to the story and you're just washing the dishes, whatever. That's amazing. That's amazing. That's perfect. That's very good. You can do that. If you're driving in your car, you've got the CD there and you're listening, right? Instead of listening to music that will just teach you informality, you listen to a novel or a short story or a story. That's amazing. Do you get what I mean? You can do that as well. That's amazing. Be it a second language learner or a first language learner, that will help you a lot, right? But again, as I said before, the thing that you listen to, Andy says you listen to the book, then you read it after. Yeah, that's amazing because you listen to one topic, you're reading the same topic. Do you get what I mean? What will you do next? You need to speak about the book. You need to speak about the book. Do you understand? So you listen to a book, you read the book, you spoke about the book, and then you write what you understood from the book. That's the fourth. Do you understand? That's the fourth thing you need to do in the English cycle. That's it. When you do that, when you write about something that you spoke about, and what you spoke about, as I said, was read by a native speaker, and you listened to from a native speaker as well, all your thoughts are native speakers like, which means they are thoughts created or based, you understand, on English language, on the language that you're trying to speak. So when you write in English, you will definitely think in English. Okay, and then you achieve that level of thinking in English. Andy says, but not in the same time. Not at the same time. Okay, if not at the same time, that's fine, no problem. You can do it at the same time, or you can do it later on, as you said, which is fine. Here, the cycle is listening, and then after a period of time, you get to read. Do you get what I mean? You can read, you can listen in the morning, read later on in the afternoon. But I don't recommend a very long book, right? I recommend short stories if you want to become a good English thinker, because you will write at the end, and when you write, you need to summarize what you've listened to, what you've read, and what you spoke about. Do you get what I mean? Andy says you listen to the book, then you read it after. Yeah, then you read it later on. All right, yeah, no problem. You can do that. That's amazing as well. So this is the English cycle. I will make sure to put this PowerPoint in the description. Download it and keep the PowerPoints on your computers. You can get back to this PowerPoint later on. Do you get what I mean? You can come back to it later on and try to read from it and try to remember these, to understand aspects and these terms and these little details that are mentioned here, right? This is very important. The English cycle is quite important. Remember it. Okay, remember the English cycle. Moving on to understanding and speaking language. Okay, understanding and speaking language. Now, this is very important as well. Okay, have you ever understood, okay, what was spoken in front of you, but was never able to speak the same language? Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you understand the guy that is talking to you, but you cannot really reply back? Do you get what I mean? This happens a lot to people who do not speak the language. You don't speak French. However, you understand French. You get what I mean? You don't speak Korean, but you understand Korean because you watch a lot of animes. Do you get what I mean? You don't speak Chinese, but you understand Chinese. You don't speak Arabic, but you understand Arabic. Do you get what I mean? Because you've got a lot of Arab friends. Do you get me? So have you ever found yourself in that situation? Right? If you found yourself in that situation, okay, you can understand the language, but you can never speak that language, you can never use it or put it into words, then this is for you. Then this is for you, understanding and speaking language. All right? So, understanding the language is quite important. How do we understand the language? How did we reach that level of understanding language without speaking it? How can I understand French, but I cannot speak French? That is crazy. Do you get what I mean? When someone speaks to me in French, I understand him, but then I cannot reply because I find it hard because I don't know French, but I understand it. Do you get what I mean? How did that happen? Through repetition and observation. Repetition is when you will listen to something over and over again around the same situation. You understand? There are different situations, but we'll listen to the same thing, right? We will know its meaning. When you listen to it several times, even if you don't know what it means, yeah? But when you listen to it in different situations, you will directly understand what it means. You will directly understand what it means. Okay? Your brain is very powerful. You will directly understand what it means. That's why when you speak to the person again, you will understand what he's talking about. You can make up the context. You can, but you will never speak back. You will never reply to the guy. You will tell him, I understand what you're saying, but I cannot say it back. Do you get what I mean? I cannot explain it to you. I cannot talk to you, right? I can just tell you something in my own language, but I can understand, but I cannot speak the language. Observation. Seeing something multiple times, yeah, will help you link it to a certain concept. So when you see something a lot of times, okay, you see something a lot of times, right, you can then link it to a certain concept that you've heard before. You get what I mean? So you've heard something, you can link it to a situation, or you've seen something, you can link it to something that you've heard. This is what happens, okay, to your brain so that you start understanding a certain language. All right, this is what happens to your brain so that you start understanding a certain language. Remember this, please. This is very important as well, because when you know what happens, you will know how to hack it. Okay, you can hack something when it knows how it works. You can hack a website when it knows how the website works. I'm not asking you to go and hack websites, okay? Chill out. I'm not, don't say, oh my God, you still know how to hack things. No, I'm not doing that. But I'm just telling you, if you know how it works, you can then find out how to go around it. Do you get what I mean? You can then find out how to go around it. You can never be a doctor if you do not know how the human body works. You can never fix the human body. You need to know how it works so that you can fix it. Do you get what I mean? You can never know how language works. If you don't know how language works, you can never fix your way of learning the language. Do you get what I mean? I hope that makes sense. This is the proper way to learn any language, you guys. Believe you me, this is the proper way to learn any language. So moving on to the third point, which is translation. All right, moving on to the third point, which is translation. Translation is very important. Why is it important? Because when you do it in your head, it is wrong in so many levels. There are things that you cannot translate, like idioms, for example. You cannot translate. In English, we say, it is raining cats and dogs, which means it is raining heavily outside. This is an idiom. This is an expression, okay? If I tell you, I cannot go out with you tomorrow because it is raining cats and dogs today, so it might rain cats and dogs tomorrow. Do you get what I mean? You will not look at the sky and tell me, oh my God, what are you talking about, mate? Is it raining cats and dogs, really? No, it's not, mate. Do you get me? But it is raining heavily. That's what it means. It means it's raining a lot. A lot of rain is coming out from the sky. Instead of telling you it is raining heavily, I tell you it is raining cats and dogs. But if you're not an English thinker, you will look at the sky and think, what? Cats and dogs falling from the sky? What are you talking about? Because you will translate it to your own language, which is wrong. Okay? If I tell you Stop beating around the bush. Stop beating around the bush. Okay? No one is beating around the bush. You will tell me, what are you talking about? We're here, we're talking. Why are you talking about beating around the bush? It means stop running away from the topic. Do you get what I mean? Or stop not answering my questions. You're not answering my questions. You're beating around the bush, mate. You need to answer me, fam. So some people, they beat around the bush. They run away. They don't answer your questions. Do you get what I mean? They change the topic. Do you get what I mean? They go around and around and around. So we say you're beating around the bush. So these are expressions that you can never translate. You can never translate to another language rather than English. It doesn't work that way. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't work. And also, there are idioms in other languages. There are idioms in French, idioms in Chinese, especially our Chinese, idioms in Arabic, and you can never translate them to English because it doesn't make sense, and it will never make sense. Do you get what I mean? I mean, try to translate "it is raining cats and dogs" in French. If you say that in French, a French person will tell you you're crazy. If you translate it to Arabic and you say it in Arabic to someone, "it is raining cats and dogs" in Arabic, that guy will tell you, what are you talking about? He will never understand you. Do you get what I mean? If I don't like someone in English, I would say, he's not my cup of tea. Do you get me? I would say he's not my cup of tea, or that person is not really my cup of tea. What does it mean he's not my cup of tea? It means I don't really enjoy his company. I don't like him. Do you get me? I don't like him. He's not my cup of tea. It doesn't mean that he's not my cup of tea. Do you get what I mean? He's not a real cup and he's not a cup of tea. He's not. Do you get me? But it's an expression. You can never translate it to another language. It doesn't make sense. It will never make sense. Do you get me? Try to translate it to your mother tongue language and tell me if it makes sense. It will never make sense. If you tell it to someone, they will tell you, what is wrong with you, mate? What are you talking about? What cup of tea are you talking about? Do you get me? But if you say it in England, then people will understand you. Which is why I'm telling you, you can never use your way of thinking in another country, even if you speak the language. Okay? You can speak English. That's amazing. That's awesome. But if you can never think in English, you will never be able to live in the United States or in England or Wales or whatever, in the UK in general. Do you get what I mean? You can never do that because you don't think in English. You will have a clash of cultures when you meet those people. Do you get what I mean? Because you're thinking in your mother tongue language. Even if you speak the language properly, you can never live with them. You can never integrate in their societies. You can never fit in. Do you get what I mean? You will only be able to integrate yourself in a society if you can speak the language and you can think the language at the same time. Do you get what I mean? Only then you can integrate yourself in society. That's what happens. And also, some of you might tell me, sometimes you cannot integrate yourself into societies when you do not have the proper accent. Do you get what I mean? This is a very important topic that some people might relate to. Some people, they have different accents. Yeah, let's say Jamaicans or Indians, and they go to the UK and they try to speak English, do you understand, to native speakers. And then native speakers will not accept those people, to get what I mean, that do not have the proper accent. They will never integrate into society or community. It is the truth. We can never hide this. Do you understand? We cannot hide this. We need to put it out there. It's the truth. Do you understand? It has nothing to do with racism but it is something that happens, right? When you don't have the proper accent, people will not really, do you understand, appreciate you sometimes. Do you get me? Which is why you find a lot of people trying to learn the accent first before learning the language, which is wrong. I don't advise that. You have to learn the language properly. You have to be able to learn English language. You need to be able to master the language. You need to enrich your vocabulary, speak properly, speak fluently, speak coherently. Only then you will pick up the accent, whether you like it or not. The accent will come alone, right? However, it is quite important. To know that some people, they suffer, you understand, before they integrate themselves into other societies, right? So to integrate yourself, you need to be able to know the culture, to think in English, right? When you think in English, you can speak in English 100%. So that's it. If you want to fit in to any society, right, you need to speak the language. And as I said before, accent might play a very important role sometimes. It is the truth. We cannot hide that. We cannot just ignore this topic. Do you understand? It is the world that we live in, right? It is the world that we live in. However, It's not always and all the time. It's not always and all the time. Some people, they can integrate, and they are doctors, to understand, in different countries, and they don't speak English properly, but they are doctors and they speak just broken English. However, they treat people and they are famous and people like them and go to them and, in a sense, support them and whatever. Do you get what I mean? So they integrated themselves with the level of education, with their academia. Do you get what I mean? That's how they integrated themselves into different societies. So you can do that as well. It doesn't really matter. Do you get me? So you need to have that something about you, and you need to push yourself to the limits in order to reach that level, right? So think in English, speak in English. That's how it works. Never translate words in your head or in your mind from your mother tongue to English, or from English to your mother tongue language, because it will never work. Do you get what I mean? Translation is a field of study. Translation is a field of study that people spend 4 years, 5 years, 6 years to master. Translation is not something that you can just do you understand, haphazardly or randomly on your head. Do you get what I mean? And just, no way, that doesn't work that way. No. Translation is a field of study. It is a huge, do you understand, field of study that people spend time and write dissertations and books about. Do you get me? It's very, very hard, and it's very sensitive as well, because if you translate words in the wrong way, you might create wars, as I said before. You need to know the culture to translate some words as well. If you do not know the culture, you will never be able to translate some words. Do you get me? It's very important. For example, if you don't know the English culture and I tell you it's raining cats and dogs, you need to translate this to Arabic or to English or to French. If you do not know the culture, you will not know what the sentence means. It is raining cats and dogs. You will go translate it literally, which is wrong. So instead of translating it literally in your language, you will say it is raining heavily. Do you get me? Which is correct. So that's why translation is hard. You need to be a know-all when it comes to language. Do you get what I mean? Or cultures. So our brains translate, not translates everything we hear from a different language, all right? Only if we master that language and finish the cycle we have seen before. Do you understand? That's what happens to our brain when we translate. If you don't want to translate, you need to finish the cycle that we've spoken about. Only then you'll be able to speak English properly and think in English. Different languages. We talk about 4 languages here, and these 4 languages, I think I've read about these languages, and I know to understand that most people tend to speak these languages and tend to mix them up, if I may. English language as a language is difficult as it can be formal and informal. What is so difficult about English language? As I said before, when you know the language, you can master the language. When you know the computer, you can fix the computer. When you know the human body, you can fix the human body. When you know your brain, you can master your brain. That's it. When you know the language, you can master the language. So let me talk about the language a little bit. English as a second language, or English as a language, is very difficult. Why? Because it can be formal and informal. Bear in mind that every language is formal and informal. Every language has this option of formality and informality. However, English can be formal and informal, and it's very sensitive in this area, do you understand, or formality or informality. Arabic as a language is very difficult because it has a deeper meaning, or because of its deeper meaning. Arabic language has very deeper meaning. That's why it's difficult to learn, do you understand? Which is why when you differentiate all these languages, you understand that you can never translate them in your head, because they would never make sense. French as a language, it didn't change a lot. French didn't change a lot since the beginning of time. It didn't change a lot. However, it changed a lot of languages. You understand? It changed a lot of languages along the way. It changed English. It changed a lot of languages. You understand? French changed a lot of languages. English is one of them. But it didn't change a lot as a language. So when you understand the language, you can master the language. Now, slang, on the other hand, is a type of language. Slang, it is a language, but it's a type of language, right? That might cause so much confusion when translated. Slang is when what you speak outside. It is very informal. Very informal. It is what you speak outside in your native language. You understand what I mean? What you speak outside to people, to anybody. That's it. That's slang. Slang is very it is only spoken by people who know, you understand, the country, who know the culture, who know the language. Do you get what I mean? That's it. That's how slang is spoken. There are some slang words that are used in the UK that you would never understand. Do you get what I mean? That you'd never understand. You would never be able to comprehend as well. Do you get what I mean? I can give you examples, and you would never be able to understand them. It's like, oh my god, what is that, mate? What are you talking about? Like Muppets, like so many words. Do you get what I mean? You'd never be able to understand them. You can Google them, you might find it, but then you'll find that it is a word that you cannot use in your culture or in your society, because no one will understand that word. You can never write it down if you're not writing to an English person, someone from the UK. Do you get what I mean? They will never understand you. It needs to be someone from the UK to understand that specific word, because it is spoken in the UK. Do you get what I mean? Londoners, by the way, Londoners speak Cockney English, or they have a Cockney accent, and they have these proper words. Do you understand? They've got these words that they use, like the word mug, for example. It's a curse word. It's not a good word. Do you get what I mean? But it is only understood in the UK and London. In London, is specific. The word, this is a mug, for example. I'm drinking from a mug, yeah? This is a mug. It's not a curse word. It's not a bad word in another language, right? But in London, it might be considered as a bad word. Do you get what I mean? Because it's slang. Do you get me? So, this is just a simple example. I'm just trying to give you examples to make you understand how hard it is to translate these words to other languages. So you need to think in English and to understand the culture of the other language before you learn that language, right? You don't want to have clash of cultures when you meet other people. Do you get what I mean? That's it. This is what I'm trying to say. It's very important. The last point that we will talk about today, and then we close this topic and we finish it, is thinking in English. That's it. If you've reached this level, you understand, if you've been watching since the first title until this title, which is the last one, you understood how to think in English, okay? How to learn a language and think that language before you speak it. You can't speak proper English if you do not think in English. Understanding the English culture will help you think in English. This is what I've been talking about. This summarizes everything that I've said before. You can never travel to a country. You can never ever travel to a country and use your own culture. You can't do that. Okay? You can't do that. I'll give you an example. In Arabic, we all know, as Muslim, I'm a Muslim. As a Muslim, I know Assalamu alaikum in Arabic means Salam alaikum, which means hello. Do you understand what I mean? It means hello. That's what I know. I can't tell you it means peace be upon you. It doesn't work. But when you translate it to English, it is peace be upon you. Do you get what I mean? You cannot go, as an Arab, you cannot go to the UK and go to people and go shake the hands and go, peace be upon you. Peace be upon you. Peace be upon you, John. Peace be upon you, James. Peace be upon you. Do you get what I mean? And you're thinking, you're greeting them. Because that's how you greet people in your country. If you greet people like that in Egypt, if you greet people like that in Syria and Lebanon, you cannot greet people like that in the UK. Do you get what I mean? People will shake your hands. Yes, they will shake your hands. But when you say, peace be upon you, yeah? Peace be upon you, mate. Peace be upon... What are you talking about? Do you get what I mean? What do you mean, peace be upon you? You get what I mean? It's a very weird statement to make. You can't do that. You can't say that sentence to people. Do you get what I mean? In your mother tongue language, it means salam alaikum. That's what we know. Do you get what I mean? But you can't translate it to English and take that culture with you, yeah, and use it in another country, because it doesn't work. You get what I mean? Because it doesn't work. So once you reach England, you start saying hello, hi, or hello, or hey, hello, hi. Do you get what I mean? That's what you say. You don't say something else. Do you get me? You don't say something else. I'll give you another example as well. You go to, I don't know, you go to other language, you go to other places. As you live in the UK and you go to another word, to Egypt, whatever. Do you get what I mean? Or to Syria, you go to Mecca, you go to Saudi Arabia. Do you get what I mean? Someone gives you something and you say cheers instead of thank you. You say cheers. You're in Saudi Arabia, someone gives you something, you say cheers. Cheers? You say cheers when you're giving a toast. Do you get what I mean? You say cheers when you're giving a toast, when you're drinking in a bar, whatever. Do you get what I mean? You say cheers in the United States when you're giving a toast, when you're drinking in a bar. But you don't say it in England that way. In England, you say cheers, which means thank you. You go to Saudi Arabia, a very conservative society. Yeah, you say cheers. People will say, "What are you talking about? What is this cheers that you're saying? Don't say cheers again." Do you get what I mean? People will get mad at you. People will get. Does it make sense now? How important it is to think in English before you speak in English, to know the culture of the other country. You need to know the culture of the other country. If you don't do that, that will create a big problem for you. You don't want to fall in that problem. Do you get what I mean? That's very important. If you've got any questions, please hit me. Write those questions for me. If you have any questions, do it. Write some questions. I can answer them now before we finish. All right? Before we finish, I want to give you... this is the last slide. Basically, in the last slide, I want to talk about my website, where I have created a test, okay, for English learners. So if you are an English learner, there is a beginner's test, an intermediate and advanced test. Okay, there are 3 tests on my website. I will put the links in the description. All right, later on, I'll put the links in the description. What you need to do is, if you want to test your level, I want to know, am I a beginner? Am I intermediate? Am I advanced? Understand? You want to know your level in English. I've created these 3 tests and they are on my website. And if you already know my website, okay, you can just go under English tests and you will find the beginner, intermediate, advanced. When you finish the first one, go to the next one, go to the third one as well. When you can share the results on social media with your friends, or you can share them with me here on the comment section, and I can also give you advice, to understand. And these tests, they change every single time. And when you finish the beginners, do the intermediate. When you finish the intermediate and you succeed, do the advanced. If you succeed in the advanced, you're very good. Yeah, but everything Andy says, don't you have a Facebook page to be in touch? Well, Andy, everything, if you type on Facebook Academia Lab, okay, Academia Lab, which is the title, or which is the name of the channel, which is the name of my website as well, academialab.net, Academia Lab on YouTube, Academia Lab on Facebook. I've got a Facebook page on which is Academia Lab as well, but I've only got the page, to understand. So it's only a page. It's just a page. It's not, and I'm not a fan of social media. I'm not a fan of Facebook. I don't do Facebook, Instagram, and all these things. I don't do that, unfortunately. But there is a page, okay, Academia Lab, which shares my website, and it shares every video that I post here, to understand what I mean there. So you can also, if you want to share that page, you can share that page as well, so that people can, you understand, come to this YouTube channel and watch the videos from it as well. The website is there. The links are there too. Do you understand, Andy? So no problem. Just type Academia Lab on Google and you will see everything that is related to my channel, you understand, or myself as well. No problem. So if you guys have any questions or anything you want to ask, anything you want me to say before I end this, just let me know. You've been very amazing. I'll just wait for your questions. Infra, have you got a question? Andy, have you got a question? There are people watching, but some of them have left. The Dreamer, have you got a question? These are the people that are speaking in the comments section. I don't know about the others. If you've got any questions, that hit me. If you don't have questions, if you enjoyed it, if you understood, if you think the PowerPoint's idea is good, let me know. To understand, if you think the PowerPoint's idea is actually good, just let me know. And so that I can also, next time I can make, do you understand, something similar, to understand, the same PowerPoint, so that it's clear for you guys. You can see the notes. You can also take notes if you want to, and it's organized and it's better, to understand. So if you like it, let me know. If you don't like it, let me know as well. All right. Thanks a lot, Infra. Thank you so much, bro. Thank you so much. And think in English, speak in English. Okay. This is what I have to say. This is what I have to say. And thank you so much, guys, for being here with me today. Thank you so much for being here with me for the third time. Thank you so much for being with me every single time. You've been amazing. You're such great people. Andy, Infra, the Dreamer, and everyone else, those who are watching, do not want to talk as well. Thank you so much for being here. You are great persons, great people. And the fact that you're here with me, trying to learn, trying to understand, trying to listen, and you are being supportive at the same time, I want to tell you and I want to let you know that you will reach, to understand, places, and you will reach the level that you want to reach. Okay, this is what I want you to know. And put in mind that anything and everything is possible. Everything and anything is possible. Okay, so thanks a lot, you guys, for being so supportive, and see you next time. Take care. Peace.